Good day, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. First of all, let me thank you for coming here today. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is about psychological perspectives of education on early education and curriculum applications. We are going to learn the current viewpoints on educational psychology. In my presentation, I'll focus on four major issues: the early childhood education, psychology of literacy and literacy application, mathematics learning, and learning with digital media. So, what is educational psychology? This is the study of how humans learn and retain knowledge, primarily in educational settings like classrooms. This includes emotional, social, and cognitive learning processes. In other definition, this is also the study of how people learn, including teaching methods, instructional processes, and individual differences in learning. The goal is to understand how people learn and retain information. So the objectives of this report are the following: to define educational psychology, to recognize the significant roles of psychology on education, and give examples of psychological contributions to early education and curriculum applications. The word psychology is derived from Greek words psycho and logos. Psycho means soul and logos means science. So, psychology is the science of soul. It is scientific because it is systematic study of observable events or behavior, and behavior is an learned process where includes reflexes, physiological process and instincts, and it is learned behavior also because all behaviors acquire through practice. It can be overt and covert. Today, psychology is a scientific method of collecting data about individuals and groups to analyze and predict their behavior. What is the importance of educational psychology? Educational psychology plays an important role in helping teachers design a suitable learning environment. Teachers need to know how to create a positive emotional climate in the classroom so the learning process can be effective. A teacher should also understand the classroom environment and its characteristics. In other words, teacher is like a philosopher who guides his student. He is also responsible to be aware about the growth and development of the students. It is educational psychology which enables the teacher to use various techniques. The importance of educational psychology and teachers has the following points. Educational psychology helps teacher to know that how learning takes place. It enables a teacher how learning process should be initiated, how to motivate, and how to memorize or learn. It helps teachers to guide the students in right direction. It also informs a teacher about the nature of the learners and his potentialities. It helps a teacher to develop a student personality because the whole educational process is for students' personality development. It helps a teacher to adjust his methodologies of learning to the nature demand of the learners. It enables a teacher to know the problems of individual differences and treat every student on his or her merit. It helps a teacher how to solve the learning problems of a student. It helps a teacher how to evaluate a student whether the purpose of teaching and learning has been achieved. Educational psychology and its current viewpoints on early childhood education. Early childhood refers to the period between birth and 8 years of age, wherein a child's brain is highly sensitive to the environment around them. This time of remarkable growth requires a specialized educational approach to ensure that children learn key skills and foundational concepts to prepare them for later life. Early childhood is the most good time to get a new knowledge. This age is an age that is decisive in shaping the character and personality of the child. Early childhood is the age when children experiencing rapid growth and development. Early childhood education is focused on the critical development milestones, skills, and concepts that children attain during this period of their lives, from social emotional skills to the beginnings of numeracy, literacy, and critical thinking. According to Squires, Preble, Chen, and Poms, research in early childhood education has grown dramatically over the past 2 decades, in concert with our increased knowledge about the significance of the birth to five period. Squires and her colleagues review work on early childhood education that focuses on creating developmentally appropriate continuums of learning and development for children, supporting a high quality and well compensated early childhood workforce, expanding access for children to high quality programs in all settings, and promoting collaboration among systems serving young children and families. They note there has been more than 50 years of debate regarding the potential benefits of early childhood education. We now know that early childhood education has the potential to support healthy brain growth by providing positive child caregiver relationships, safe learning environments, and stimulating experiences. Children's brain growth has been shown to be impacted by the quality of their relationships and exposure to consistent, responsive caregiving. This is according to the National Scientific Council on the Developing Child. Research and practices in early childhood education, as well as beliefs and attitudes about young children, are reviewed and tied to theoretical approaches because early relationships and experiences are fundamental for building strong brain architecture. Early education has a critical role to play. Early education programs can also help bolster the home environment, adding to the stimulating interactions and enriching experiences in a child's life. There is a body of evidence supporting the positive impact of early childhood programs, which has grown in the past decade. This work began with older studies conducted in the 1960s to 1980s that were focused on figuring out ways to help disadvantaged children obtain better long-term outcomes by random assignment to an early childhood intervention or control group. Results generally indicate that children who attended the preschool program had lower levels of special education placement and higher levels of high school graduation in comparison to children in the control group. Children who take part in early childhood education programs have improved social skills. In a preschool setting, children learn crucial skills like listening, sharing, and taking turns with others. As adults, they also had higher income levels, lower levels of welfare assistance and arrest rates, and other positive outcomes. More recent work has been conducted on cost-benefit analysis of high-quality preschool programs. This analysis reveal that such programs have positive economic returns for educational intervention, particularly in comparison to remediation efforts. In the past decade, efforts have focused on making sure that educational services are delivered in ways that are effective by identifying evidence-based practices regarding early intervening models. Researchers have developed and implemented multi-tiered models of prevention for young children and have identified critical features of such models. These models are designed to help professionals identify young children's needs and services in an effective, timely, and hierarchical approach. The Philippine Republic Act 8980, or the Early Childhood Care and Development Act, is an act promulgating a comprehensive policy and a national system for early childhood care and development, providing funds therefore and for other purpose. Early childhood care and development system refers the full range of health, nutrition, early education, and social services programs that provide for the basic holistic needs of young children from birth to age 6 to promote their optimum growth and development. These programs include center-based programs such as the Daycare Service established under Republic Act No. 6972, public and private preschools, kindergarten or school-based programs, community or church-based early childhood education programs initiated by non-government organizations or people's organizations, workplace-related childcare and education programs, child minding centers, health centers, and stations. Also, home-based programs such as the neighborhood-based play groups, family daycare programs, parent education, and home visiting programs. So, early childhood education is a period when children start to learn basic skills, social and emotional skills, develop their interests, and form a relationship between their parents, peers, and teachers. It is their foundation and groundwork for their future development. According to UNESCO, early childhood care and education is more than preparation for primary school. It aims at the holistic development of a child's social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs in order to build a solid and broad foundation for lifelong learning and well-being. Early childhood care and education has the possibility to nurture caring, capable, and responsible future citizens. Hence, early care and education puts emphasis on the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs of the child for a strong foundation of learning and well-being throughout life. Educational psychology and its current viewpoints on literacy and literacy applications. Literacy is the ability to read, write, speak, and listen in a way that lets us communicate effectively and make sense of the world. Lacking vital literacy skills holds a person back at every stage of their life. As a child, they won't be able to succeed at school. As a young adult, they will be locked out of the job market. And as a parent, they won't be able to support their own child's learning. This intergenerational cycle makes social mobility and a fairer society more difficult. Perhaps no other single educational issue has received as much national and international attention as literacy development. Pearson and Cervetti note the groundbreaking work in this area done more than 100 years ago by Huey, who applied psychology to understanding reading and reading instruction. Edmund Burke Huey was one of the first psychologists to apply scientific methods to the study of reading. He believed that reading is a complex process that involves the eyes, eye movements, the physiology of the brain, and the workings of the mind. He was also convinced that issues of health such as fatigue, glare, and print size affect a reader's physical state of being. He presented reading as a cognitive process rooted in an individual's construction of meaning, doing so around the time that cognitive views of learning were in their infancy. Huey's work in reading research, spanning about 10 years, reflected the thinking of John Dewey, a progressive educator whom Huey admired and to whom he makes reference in some of his works. Huey supported Dewey's emphasis on the use of context rather than drill to introduce new words to young readers. He also admired Dewey's practice of teaching phonics separately from the reading lessons to keep the focus of reading instruction on obtaining the message of the text. This is evident on some of our subjects where letter sounds are taught separately. Pearson and Cervetti, in reviewing this enormous multidimensional domain of literature, focus on a number of critical syntheses and reviews by educational psychologists and scholars of reading. They note that various national mandates have emphasized the need for rigorous research in reading, with the No Child Left Behind legislation of 2002 using the term scientifically based reading research appearing 110 times in the bill. Pearson and Cervetti review a multitude of instructional contexts and approaches for reading development that have been studied, with an emphasis on critical reviews of these approaches conducted in the past 20 years. They identify a number of promising lines of research that provide useful information on the various complex processes inherent in learning to read. This range from the construction of mental representation of text and text-level processing to understanding the issue of volume when examining vocabulary knowledge and literacy development. In addition to these disciplinary approaches, researchers have begun to take more multi-component approaches across and within various components of the reading processes. For example, Gracier, McNamara, and Kolikovic have developed an empirically based multidimensional procedure for examining text difficulty in primary and secondary school textbooks. Pearson and Cervetti conclude by noting the complexity of research approaches used for the scientific study of literary and literacy education and how this has led to some tension between scholars in this and other fields such as mathematics education. Educational psychology and its current viewpoints on mathematics learning. Mathematics is one of the most important subjects. Mathematics is a subject of numbers, shapes, data, measurements, and also logical activities. It has a huge scope in every field of our life, such as medicine, engineering, finance, natural science, economics, etc. We are all surrounded by a mathematical world. The concepts, theories, and formulas that we learn in math books have huge applications in real life. To find the solutions for various problems, we need to learn the formulas and concepts. Therefore, it is important to learn the subject to understand its various applications and significance. Mathematics simply means to learn or to study or gain knowledge. The theories and concepts given in mathematics help us understand and solve various types of problems in academic as well as in real-life situations. Mathematics is a subject of logic. Learning mathematics will help students to grow their problem-solving and logical reasoning skills. Solving mathematical problems is one of the best brain exercises. Mathematics also is a human knowledge needed to carry out our everyday lives. For example, ranging from waking someone looking at the numbers contained on the clock to see what time it was. When shop, then we will vote and count the number of items to be purchased and the price paid. As she walked away, we need to remember the street where that will be visited, how long away, and choose the path more can quickly reach the destination, etc. The psychology of mathematics learning is a broad field of study. To provide a meaningful discourse on some of the major developments and research in this field, Lehrer and Lesch systematically examine the development, argument, and inscription as these domains relate to mathematics learning. To support their treatise, Lehrer and Lesch utilized cognitive and sociocultural perspectives to examine research and theory in these fields of scientific inquiry. Present mathematics teaching, children are often asked to memorize the geometric shapes, numbers, amounts, variety of symbols, and language of mathematics without understanding the underlying principles. If this happens, then it is very likely the child will experience difficulties when entering the third grade. And then that's when we realize that children are in fact not understand the basic concepts of mathematics. Lehrer and Lesch formulate and present rationale that describe the development of conversational argument, including such concepts as analogy and the development of relations, conditions, and reasoning, and how these provide routes to the formulation of mathematical argument as well as mathematical proof. The role of inscription systems or marks on paper and other media is described as a mediator to mathematics learning. From a developmental perspective, the growth of inscription ability and skills allows for the differentiation of numbers from letters, forms, maps, diagrams, and other aspects of symbolic representation. Lehrer and Lesch review the research on models and modeling in mathematics education and how this is critical for problem solving in mathematics, particularly at the elementary grade level. They review significant recent work emphasizing classroom practices that can support productive mathematical thinking even in early elementary classrooms, such as pretend play, setting norms for classroom conversations that emphasize the need for proof and the orchestration of guided dialogic experiences generated from collective and shared everyday knowledge. The fundamentals of mathematics begin with arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These are the basics that every student learns in their elementary school. Modeling is an instructional strategy in which the teacher demonstrates a new concept or approach to learning and students learn by observing. Modeling describes the process of learning or acquiring new information, skills, or behavior through observation, rather than through direct experience or trial and error efforts. Learning is viewed as a function of observation rather than direct experience. Research has shown that modeling is an effective instructional strategy in that it allows students to observe the teacher's thought processes. Using this type of instruction, teachers engage students in imitation of particular behaviors that encourage learning. Math is basically learning to think or learn to solve problems. According to Dodge and Coker, mathematics is the ability to create relationships. And to be a math thinker, children need to be given the opportunity to investigate, organize concrete objects before they can use the symbols that have been known in the abstract. Educational psychology and its current viewpoints on learning with digital media. Digital media is any form of media that uses electronic devices for distribution. This form of media can be created, viewed, modified, and distributed via electronic devices. Digital media is commonly used software, video games, videos, websites, social media, and online advertising. Goldman and co-writers present a historical review and creative prospective insights into how technological advances have been shaped and have helped shape our current notions of learners, learning, and teaching. These researchers review the dynamic field of new and emerging medias and technologies that have the potential of creating unique, possibly until now unfathomable, themes of research in educational psychology. They trace instructional technology from its behavioristic, computer-administered drill and practice roots to the influence of the cognitive science revolution with its focus on artificial intelligence and analogies to information processing computing paradigms to more contemporary situated models of contextualized learning where cognition is not viewed in a straightforward algorithm, but rather as the emergent property of complex systems working in parallel. They review different analogies used to characterize the influence of computers in education. These perspectives independently have viewed the computer as an information source, as a curriculum domain, as a communication medium, as a cognitive tool, as an alternative learning environment, as a learning partner, as a means of scaffolding learning, and as a tool for perspectivity sharing. Goldman and colleagues point out significant newly emerging paradigms and the concomitant challenges that will ensue from these dynamic new applications. The idea of perspectivity technologies and their points of viewing theory is presented with expansions to the notion that computers allow for elastic knowledge construction. The use of social networking as a vehicle for teaching is noted, as is the research on interactive and massive multiplayer games as facilitators of learning. The education system has undergone a paradigm shift from where it is used to stand years ago. In the olden days, students had to go to the library and open big books to find the information they needed. In the 20th century, one would find thousands of results for the same things they need in just a fraction of a second. The technology has truly improved and continues to evolve. Computers, laptops, smartphones, tablets, these devices have become a necessity in today's age. These are not merely for fun and leisure anymore. They are now being heavily used by our education sector. Power and importance of technology in education is evident now more than ever, as Filipino students need access to education even during crisis. Thanks to technology, teachers can customize learning for students. It enables them to improve their instruction methods and personalize learning, thus increasing their productivity and efficiency as instructors. Through these helpful tools, teachers can provide exciting activities. This includes watching videos to further delve into the topic. It's also great content that helps spark and boost curiosity in kids. The use of media to enhance teaching and learning complements traditional approaches to learning. Effective instruction builds bridges between students' knowledge and the learning objectives of the course. Using media engages students, aids student retention of knowledge, motivates interest in the subject matter, and illustrates the relevance of many concepts. It also cultivates other 21st century skills like creativity, collaboration, and communication, as well as increasing digital literacy skills through interacting with media, information, and technology. Next, I'd like to leave these questions and you can have a self-reflection. First, how to identify the right preschool curriculum for your pupils? How do you develop your preschool curriculum? How does the curriculum build upon itself? How do you stay current on child development? What types of professional development do you participate in? How do you monitor learning and student growth? How does your program involve parents? Does your school provide learning opportunities for parents? And how does your preschool help children learn to interact with their peers? Now, I'd like to finish with the following statements. The aim of educational psychology is to apply psychological concepts and principles in order to improve educational practice. Next, educational psychology is very important to teachers and it should be highly embraced for effective performance in schools. The first 5 years in childhood are the most significant in terms of development. Early childhood is a critical time, and the experiences a child has in these formative years play a pivotal role in preparing the child for future success. It is essential that educators and other key stakeholders such as parents, schools, and governing bodies recognize the integral role that early childhood education plays in lifelong learning. Although this places increasing pressure on early childhood educators, many of the challenges that we face as a profession can be overcome by working together as a whole to educate others. Lastly, educators must reflect on their own teaching methods and build a new framework for thinking, one that advocates for the rights of children and ensures children are given voice, rights, choice, and power within curriculum decision making. While teaching traditional skills such as reading, writing, and numeracy is still important, educators must also recognize the importance of developing dispositions for learning and life skills, which help learners become a productive citizens in the future. Here are my takeaways. Early care and education puts emphasis on the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs of the child for a strong foundation of learning and well-being throughout life. The Philippines aims to protect the children and provide assistance for their needs, including proper care and nutrition, special protection from all forms of neglect, abuse, and exploitation. It also aims to fully recognize the nature of childhood and its special needs, promotes the rights of all children to survival, development, and special protection, and supports parents in their roles as primary caregivers and their children's first teachers. They aim to promote a system that is comprehensive, integrative, and sustainable, premised on a multi-sectoral and interagency collaboration. Modeling activities are extremely useful tools for mathematics education. Math teachers are working to help real mathematical modeling become a regular part of the K-12 mathematics curriculum. We are shifting our perspective on what qualifies as an engaging real-world problem. We need media psychology because media technologies are everywhere. They change at the speed of light, and every change brings new opportunities and challenges. These technologies are redefining the way we work, play, communicate, and ultimately think. Media psychology is important. The call to action. First, children must be taught how to think, not what to think. Law, theories, and facts may change, but a logical thought process is what keeps us moving forward. Teachers may focus on teaching standards, administering tests, and grading projects, but they must never lose sight of how they are shaping young minds to think for themselves. Next, students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Being the smartest person in the room doesn't guarantee respect, and kindness is not dependent on words or knowledge. Caring is shown through actions, motives, and personal sacrifice. Lastly, it takes a big heart to help shape little minds. A big heart isn't bent on seeking power, status, or recognition for itself. A big heart cares for the needs of the weak and the small. Maybe that's why not everyone is called to be a teacher. Here are my references and my bio note. Thank you so much everyone for listening and have a good day.